Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Good evening. Welcome to the Yoga Satsang. Offering humble salutations at the lotus feet of our Jagat Guru. When we are young and start our education, first thing we tell is A for apple, B for bat, C for cat, and so on. But if you have noticed, nowadays it's still A for apple, but it's not the apple, it's the Apple iPhone. But if you come down, the alphabet T means we used to learn as it's a table, toy, or a tap, and but in present generation, T stands for only thyroid. This is one of the common challenge that most of us are going through. So today's topic for our satsang is how to work on these thyroid levels. So we have with us Dr. Kanakadurga Garu and Ms. Harita to make us realize health is just a state of body. However, wellness is a state of being. So I request Dr. Kanakadurga Garu to start today's session.
Thank you, Swarna. Sri Chandrasekharayatindasastinam Shantantaranga Kalitakhila Bhaukanam Kanchi Puristita Mahonnata Kamakoti Pithim Upashitavatam Charanatupase Sri Jayendriyatindasastinam Shantantaranga Kalitakhila Bhaukanam Kanchi Puristita Mahonnata Kamakoti Pithim Upashitavatam Charanatupase Sri Shankara Vijendra Tinda Sastinam Shantantaranga Kalitakhila Bhavukanam Kanchi Puristita Mahonnata Kamakoti Pithim Upashitavatam Charanatupase Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Pada Shankaram Lokashankaram यद वक्तमानस सरप्रतिलब्ध जन्म भाषारविंद मकरंदर संपिबंति प्रत्याशमन्मुख विनीत विनय भृंगाः तान् भाषवित्त गुरून् प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना नाहं वैदिक संप्रदाय निपुणः स्मार्तेऽपि मार्गे क्षमः साक्षात् शेखर चरणाम्भोजन भक्तिं लभे संसारार्णव सग्निशं संताप चिंताकुलम् मां श्री शंकर देशिकेन्द्र कृपया संदराय त्वं प्रभो कालटी भव शंकराद्वैत रक्षक काल काल कृपा निधे वटमूलवास निर्देशिक मूल कारण मुक्तिदायक परमहंस जगद्गुरो काल भीतिं निवारय परमातत्वं बोधय जय जय शंकर हर हर शंकर. I'm going to tell you all a story today. The scene is in 1992. A young Indian lady in California who's gone with her husband, who's a software engineer. She has just delivered a baby about 4 months ago. She suddenly finds a bald patch on her head. Her husband finds a 50 paisa size bald patch. She gets worried. They call their family doctor, Dr. Lakshmi Ranga, who is in Hyderabad and who has been guiding them throughout with Ayurvedic medicines. She immediately dispatches medicines like Tapyadi Loha and Krumi Mudgaras through the post. In those days, with great care, the medicines are sent. And she advises this young lady to go to the grocery store and purchase goat milk and ask her to take goat milk daily and avoid cow's milk. Along with that, she's asked her to take some kelp. Kelp is a sea vegetable which is high in iodine. What is the reason for all this advice? The young lady was suffering from postpartum thyroid disease that comes because of less iodine and comes after delivery. So this iodine, which is very high in goat milk, it's mentioned in Ayurveda also, goat milk is very good because it's very light to digest and it reduces kapha. So she was given this goat milk diet. She was given the kelp. She was given these medicines. And she was asked to go to the Balaji temple nearby in Livermore, California, Shiva Vishnu temple. And the end of this whole episode is this lady got back her hair, and she got a very strong faith in Ayurveda, that where everything else fails, Ayurveda helps. Because amongst her trials, she had to visit the doctor once, and the doctor, not knowing this girl's history, started suspecting it could be it could be TB, it could be cancer. So the trauma of the fear in her heart, that what could cause this loss of hair. Whereas the Ayurvedic doctor, all the way from India, without even seeing, in those days there was no WhatsApp video, nothing, no video call, nothing, just a phone call. Just a phone call saved this girl and her pride. She was not even able to go out because in America you can't, she was scared to step out. And by taking these Ayurvedic medicines, within 3 months she got thick hair, and not only her whole family had great faith in Ayurveda. So this is one of the case histories of Dr. Lakshmi Ranga, which I've shared with you. Thyroid is very well taken care of by Ayurvedic medicines and by yoga. Yoga also, we have a very good balanced regimen which will help us in treating thyroid. Do the forward bending, do the backward bending, mudras. In mudras, we have Shankha Mudra. Shankha Mudra works on thyroid. Now, if you take your hand and you see this, the mound below the thumb, this is the place for thyroid. When the acupressure specialists ask us to work on the thyroid, they ask us to stimulate this point. They say, press this point 40 times, this mound below the thumb. Okay, this is the thyroid point. So this can be done by everybody. Alternatively, they also do this 10 times. So this is the acupressure. This is the beauty of acupressure. Now, I want you to see.
Kanakadurga Garu, your video is off.
Something happened. Just one minute. Yeah, I think I just get it
I've just
back. Can you
sent.
see me now? Am I okay now? No?
Not yet. It's still off. I've just sent a notification to you. You can just click accept on that.
Okay, okay. Just one. I'm not getting it's in WhatsApp. Is it on WhatsApp notification?
No. It's in the Zoom link only. So it will show you when the host has asked you to start the video, it will come.
Meeting in progress. 1 minute.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we can see you now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. So what I was saying, Shankha Mudra. So this is the point for thyroid. In acupressure, they ask you to stimulate this point, press it 40 times. Or alternatively, you can just do this. This with one hand, this with one hand. This also stimulates this point. But now the fun begins. In Mudra Vijnana, we have the Shankha Mudra, where you put one thumb over here. Harita will demonstrate the Shankha Mudra during the Ujjayi Pranayam today. So you put one thumb here, enclose all the fingers around. Okay, I repeat, put one thumb, putting pressure below this on the mound, put all the fingers around, take this thumb and touch the tip of your index finger, and then all the fingers around. So it looks like a conch shell. I repeat, put this thumb at the base of the thumb. Step 1. Step 2, all the fingers around. Step 3, thumb to the tip of the index finger. Step 4, all the fingers around. This is called the Shankha Mudra. Now the Shankha Mudra, if done for 45 minutes daily, it works on the thyroid. So you don't need to do 45 minutes continuously. You can do 15 minutes in the morning, 15 in the afternoon, 15 in the evening. What is happening? Can you see me, Swarna?
No, ma'am, we cannot.
I don't know
It's
what's
again the
happening.
same problem.
Yeah.
I've sent the notification again.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm very sorry. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Start. Okay. So this Shankha Mudra, it works on the thyroid. So this should be done 45 minutes. Any mudra which is done for therapy, you need to do for 45 minutes. After you do this, you can do the Prana Mudra, which is for blood circulation. That is tip of the index finger, tip of the little finger to the tip of the thumb. This can be done for 5 minutes. So 45 minutes of Shankha Mudra with 10 minutes of Prana Mudra, which works very well on the thyroid. It helps in bringing it in balance and it keeps it from, fluctuating the levels. To do this 45 minutes, you can break it up into 15 minute sessions, or even, lesser sessions. You can even do 5 minute sessions, but, do it periodically and see that 45 minutes is over. So this is the beauty of our Mudra Vijnana. See, the acupressure point is the same. Now in acupressure, you give pressure and you leave it. But in this, by doing the Shankha Mudra, you're putting constant pressure. So just how elevated the rishis, the Gheran Samhita, all these are the granthas from which the mudras have come. So how elevated they were to just, decide to put constant pressure on that and stimulate the thyroid gland. Now there are people who suppress their, their thoughts. That is also not good situation in thyroid. Suppressing the troubled thoughts and just keeping it to themselves. That also causes stress and causes disturbances in the hormonal balance. So that's why they ask people who have got thyroid problem to sing, to do bhajans, because there's a vocal expression of whatever stress they feel. Now, thyroid in Ayurveda, they call it as Galaganda. Galaganda means there is a protrusion or an enlargement over the neck region. So that can be of Vataj, Pittaj, and Medoj types. Vataj means where predominantly it's a blackish kind of swelling and it's got pricking pain. Pittaj will be more of burning sensation, and Medoj is more of Vataj, Pittaj is also the more a burning sensation. Kaphaj is more of it's colorless protuberance. It will not show so much of color, but it will also have, it will be like a heaviness will be there and dullness will be there. So these are the classification according to the doshas. But they have also given the reasons. What are the reasons for thyroid? Along with everything else, they ask us to avoid, taking a lot of meat and then taking a lot of fish, taking a lot of dairy items. They mention all the dairy items like, curds, too much of curds, buffalo milk, too much of heavy food, too much of udad dal. Udad dal is nothing but udin bele in Kannada, Minapappu in Telugu. I don't know the name in Tamil, but udad dal is what we use in idlis and dosa. So eating idli and dosa regularly, fermented food regularly, is not good for the thyroid. It's not good for diabetes also. But in Ayurveda, this has been mentioned. Do not eat udad dal regularly. So adai is safer because they have other, legumes are used in that. Pesarattu, which we use in Andhra Pradesh. With moong. Moong is considered to be very good in Ayurveda also. So they discourage us from eating too much of udad dal. Too much of udad dal is heavy for the body. They consider it almost equal to meat. And they say by eating too much of udad dal, eating too much of curds, too much of milk products, sleeping in the daytime, all these things will increase the thyroid factors. Because naturally, now you're understanding the basics that kapha is increased. Kapha is increased and it affects the muscular tissue, muscular system. So this thyroid is a disease in which the kapha affects the muscular tissues and the Medovaha tissue. Medovaha is adipose, fatty tissues. That is why there is a swelling, because fat and muscle tissue is involved. And who are the ones which created too much of kapha? How does the kapha, now what is the kapha? We've been seeing all these days in our ahara, vihara. Whatever food we're eating, too much of kapha, vihara, lifestyle, like sleeping in the daytime, not proper, not having proper sleep habits, too much of AC exposure, too much of cold exposure. So all these reasons will increase the kapha. And when too much of kapha is there and it's suppressed, with medicines, in which unnecessarily too much of medication to suppress it, too much of, neglecting of the kapha will make the kapha accumulate in glands. So these glands like thyroid, so, untreated sinusitis may lead to thyroid, because, this is kapha. The kapha has to be expelled from the system. So even in yoga, they have something called dhauti, in which they do kunjal. They wash the stomach. They make the people vomit out by making them drink 1.5 liters of salt water. They make them vomit out, and a lot of kapha comes out. So they are also, what is there in yoga is also done in Ayurveda. In Ayurveda, the difference is that we use herbs, like we use yashti madhu, all these which help us to, they do this panchakarma. So Shatkarma in yoga and Panchakarma in Ayurveda. Panchakarma, what do? They try to remove all this excess kapha. So for thyroid, there's a very good treatment if Panchakarma is done. There's cleansing of the system, all the tissues. So they make them do Vamana, Virechana. All these things will remove all the excess doshas, the Vata, Pitta and Kapha, which is causing all these problems in the body. But if you don't want to do Panchakarma, which is a purification process, which requires a lot of time, energy, and costs also, and sometimes you need to be in the proper environment, in the Ayurvedic hospital. Where you're at home, what you should do is see to it that you don't eat food which is going to cause more and more kapha. And then you can do simple things like sipping lemongrass tea throughout the day, diluted lemongrass tea. See, if you have too many medicines, it will affect the liver. So you can have diluted lemongrass tea. Drinking it throughout the day is very good for the thyroid. Now, what are the medicines in Ayurveda? We have Kanchnar Gugul, Bohirivia diffusa, Kanchanara. Kanchanara is good for any swelling. They use Kanchnar Gugul. They use Trikatu. Trikatu is a very strong powder, which is Sunt Meri and Pipli. That is also very, very good for thyroid. It doesn't suit everyone. See, the vast science of Ayurveda is the medicine I use may not suit Uma or may not suit Situ. It will be different for different people. So when my mother, she's an Ayurvedic doctor, when my mother gave me one medicine, when I was growing up, she thought I had to grow tall. So she gave me Shilajit to grow tall, and it suited me. But when she tried it with my sisters, it didn't suit her. So it didn't suit them. So she didn't give them that. So it depends on the body constitution. And the same medicine will not be used for it. So that's why we cannot give a prescription and say that everybody take this for this. It's not like that. There are some herbs, of course, which like amla. Amla, everybody can take, amal ki rasan, which is high in vitamin C. But even then, there are fluctuations. Like I have a friend called Purnima Bhatt. She's botany graduate. If she takes Trikatu, even 1 or 2 pinches, she starts getting too much of heat in the body. So one has to realize that that's because of a constitution. Each one has a specific constitution. Either Vata Pitta, Vata Kapha, or Pitta Kapha, or pure Vata, pure Pitta, pure Kapha. So depending on the constitution, they'll be able to tolerate, they will not be able to tolerate. That is why the same herb, there's so many types of herbs which are used, so many types of medicines that are used, so many types of food that is given, with the constitution in mind. So you can imagine how tailor-made this Ayurveda science is. It's so huge, so vast, and there's constant, there's not a single, according to Charak, there's not a single disease which is not treated, which cannot be treated. And there's not a single dravya which cannot be used as a medicine. So thyroid can be treated by, first of all, by not eating these Nidana Parivarjanam. That is the biggest sutra for Ayurveda. Nidana means the reasons which cause the disease should be avoided. So by eating a proper balanced food and not, now one of the other reasons in a thyroid problem is lack of iodine. Lack of iodine leads to harmless goiter. Lack of iodine, how do you have proper iodine in that, plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables. Now we have many hostelers. Even in the US, there are children who go and stay in the hostel. Even in India, they go and stay in the hostel. They don't have much fresh fruits and vegetables. Every place is not like Sampradaya Pathshala, where every menu is very, very scientifically planned, and the best of the experts are deciding the whole menu. But currently, most places, they won't get fresh fruits and vegetables. So that leads to iodine deficiency. So eating the correct food and seeing to it that they do yogasanas regularly. By doing yogasanas regularly, the oxygen supply, the blood circulation, everything is enhanced, and there is no stagnation of disease-causing factors in the body. When there is a stagnation, then it will accumulate in the glands and cause problems. So by daily doing yoga, by daily, increasing the blood circulation, improving the organ, yoga is the only system where you work on each and every organ in the body. Walking and all these exercises exercise the larger muscles, but yoga works on the internal organs in the body. They're so scientifically designed, the rishis have designed so scientifically that certain asanas are meant for certain organs. So in yoga, we have Simhasana, Simha Kriya. All these are very good for the thyroid. We have Ujjayi Pranayam. Ujjayi Pranayam has got wonderful benefits in thyroid. Doing pranayama regularly, I have found that doing pranayama regularly, over a period of 6 months, most people come to a regular thyroid levels. We have, by Mahaperiva's grace, we have tried in the clinics. So we have found that, in the yoga class, we have found that by doing Brahmari pranayama, Kapalbhati pranayama, Ujjayi pranayama regularly, and following the diet restrictions, no taking curds, no taking bananas, and making sure that they do the pranayama daily and a few other yogic exercises. But what we found is pranayama itself helped. And then, of course, doing Shankhamudra, all these things are added benefits to the dietary schedule. So to the treatment schedule. So, without any effort, without going to any hospitals, you can bring your thyroid to a proper level by following yoga regularly, by taking Ayurvedic medicines. Of course, you need the advice of a doctor, because we cannot decide on our own. As I said, some herbs will suit some won't, and then you need to know how long to take it. And if you're taking any hormonal medicines, you need to know how much to take, so that slowly it can be tapered off over a period of time. But this is just a small bit about thyroid. There's much more. In the future, we will try to understand more. And in this path, we have only Jagadguru to guide us with pranams at his feet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable suggestions and giving a very good clarity on how we should work on these kind of stuff. And I request Harita to take it over now.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Jai Jai Shankara, Har Har Shankara. Today we are going to discuss about yoga for thyroid. The thyroid gland is a small organ that is located in the front of neck, wrapped around the windpipe, trachea. It is shaped like a butterfly, smaller in the middle with two wings that extended around the side of your throat. The side of your throat. We have glands throughout our body where they create and release substances that help our body to do specific things. Our thyroid makes hormones that help control many vital functions in our body. When thyroid gland does not work properly, it can impact our entire body. If our body makes too much thyroid hormone, we can develop a condition called hyperthyroidism. If our body makes too little thyroid hormone, it is called hypothyroidism. Thyroid has an important job to do within our body, which help in releasing and controlling thyroid hormones that control metabolism. It is a process where the food you take into our body is transformed into energy. This energy is used throughout your entire body to keep many of the body's system working properly. The thyroid controls your body metabolism with a few specific hormones, that is T4 and T3. These two hormones are created by the thyroid and they tell the body cells how much energy to use. When your thyroid works properly, it will maintain the right amount of hormones to keep your metabolism working at the right rate as the hormones are used. The thyroid creates replacements. Thyroid conditions. Goiter, a general term for thyroid swelling. Goiter can harmless or can represent iodine deficiency or a condition associated with thyroid inflammation called Hashimoto's thyroidism. Thyroiditis, inflammation of the thyroid, usually from a vital infection or autoimmune condition. Thyroiditis can be painful or have no symptoms at all. And hyperthyroidism, excessive thyroid hormone production. Hyperthyroidism is most often caused by Graves' disease or an overactive thyroid nodule. And hypothyroidism, low production of thyroid hormone. Thyroid damage caused by autoimmune disease is the most common cause of thyroidism. Graves' disease, an autoimmune condition in which the thyroid is overstimulated, causing thyroidism. Hyperthyroidism, thyroid cancer, an uncommon form of cancer. Thyroid cancer is usually curable. Surgery, radiation, and hormone treatments may be called to treat thyroid cancer. And thyroid nodule, a small abnormal mass or lump in the thyroid gland. Thyroid nodules are extremely common. Few are cancerous. They may secrete excess hormones causing hyperthyroidism or cause no problems. Thyroid syndrome, a rare form of hyperthyroidism in which extremely high thyroid hormone levels cause severe illness. Causes of thyroid dysfunction: dietary components, infections, stress, excessive exercise, and toxic chemicals, impaired digestion. Hypothyroidism signs and symptoms may include fatigue, increased sensitivity to cold, constipation, dry skin, weight gain, puffy face, hoarseness, muscle weakness, elevated blood cholesterol level, muscle aches, tenderness, and stiffness, and pain, stiffness, or swelling in your joints, heavier than normal or irregular menstrual periods, thinning hair, slowed heart rate, depression, impaired memory, enlarged thyroid gland. Symptoms and signs of hyperthyroidism can include tremor, nervousness, fast heart rate, fatigue, intolerance for heat, increase in bowel movement, increased sweating, concentration problems, unintentional weight loss. And food habits. A normal food with less fats and carbohydrates, but with high fiber food. Best food is fruits and vegetables, except banana, mango, and grapes. And thyroid people, they have to avoid non-veg food, milk and milk products, and rice, oily and spicy foods, and refined foods, fast foods, and preserved foods. And foods to eat for thyroid patients, vegetables and herbs, fruits, beans, and grains and oils. Can we maintain thyroid by doing yoga? Yes, the asanas going to see are good for maintaining thyroid levels. Ardha Chakrasana. This asana stimulates thyroid gland, improves lung capacity, and cure respiratory disorders also. And good posture for heart health and regulates blood pressure. And relieves pain in neck and shoulders and back. It stimulates abdominal organs also. And those who are suffering with ulcer, hernia, high blood pressure, and serious spine and hip joints, avoid this asana. And Padahastasana, and helps with nasal and throat diseases, massages the digestive organs, elevates flatulence and constipation and indigestion. And spinal nerves are stimulated and toned. And it improves metabolism and concentration. And people suffering from severe back pain, high blood pressure, heart problems, and knee problems, and sciatica and abdominal hernia should not practice this asana. And Supta Vajrasana. This is beneficial for thyroid, increases flexibility of the spine and hips, and stretches the thigh muscles and strengthens the lungs, and is helpful for asthma and bronchitis. And people suffering with knee problem and sciatica and neck should avoid this asana. Ustrasana, it improves digestion and stretches and opens the front of the body. It also strengthens the neck, back, and shoulders. And it gives flexibility to spine. Helps overcome menstrual discomfort also. And people suffering with the knee, hernia, and slip disc, and sciatica, and arthritis should avoid this asana. And Shashankasana, it releases the stress from spinal vertebrae. And Dhanurasana, it stretches the entire front part of the body, ankles, thighs, and groins, and abdomen and chest and throat. Strengthens the back muscle and improves posture. It stimulates the organs of the abdomen and neck. And high blood pressure people and migraine, insomnia, and severe lower back people should avoid this asana. Matsyasana relieves tension between neck and shoulder, stretches upper body by allowing unrestricted airflow, thus providing extra oxygen into the lungs. It is beneficial for asthma patients and improves metabolism and removes soreness of muscles and bones in spine and neck. And high blood pressure people and migraine and neck injury should avoid this. And Sarvangasana calms the brain and helps to relieve stress and mild depression, and stimulates the thyroid gland and abdominal organs, and stretches the shoulder and neck, and tones the legs and buttocks, and improves digestion and reduces fatigue and elevates insomnia. And high blood pressure people does not practice this asana. And Halasana, this is also very good for thyroid. It calms the brain. It stimulates the abdominal organs and thyroid gland, and stretches the shoulder and spine, and helps to relieve symptoms of menopause and reduce stress and fatigue, and therapeutic for backache, headache, infertility, insomnia, and sinus. And high blood pressure people and chronic constipation and sciatica, slip disc people should avoid this asana. And Savasana and Ujjayi Pranayama, helpful to improve the function of thyroid gland and improves concentration in the physical practice. This is very good pranayama for everyone, for thyroid people. Do not practice this pranayama if you are constantly feeling tired and anxious and harmful for the lungs and heart. And Kapalabhati pranayama, this is also very good for thyroid people. And Bhastrika, this is also called as bellows breath, good for brain oxygenation and benefits the nerves and the motor system. Great for energizing the body and mind. And good for people with depression and anxiety. And great for lungs and people who suffer from cough, flu, respiratory issues, and allergies or breathlessness. And high blood pressure and cardiac problem, we have to avoid this pranayama. Along this, we have to practice Shankhamudra. Now we will see how to practice the asanas. Along with this, we have to do every day neck exercise. This is also very good for thyroid. Now slowly start with a small prayer. Close your eyes. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacham Malam Sarirasya Cha Vaidyakena Yopakarottam Pravaram Muninam Patanjalim Pranjaliranatosmi Abahu Purushakaram Shankachakrasidarinam Sahasrasirasam Svetam Pranamami Patanjalim. Now slowly open your eyes. Now we'll practice under guidance of Kankakta ma'am.
We're going to start with the neck exercises. The neck exercises are very important for thyroid because they improve the blood circulation. You will see all the neck positions, starting with up and down movement, neck exercise.
Now slowly exhale, slowly bend your neck forward and inhale. Take your neck back as far as possible. Exhale, bend forward. Inhale, slowly stretch your neck back. We'll do 5 times. Exhale, bend forward. Inhale, take your neck back. And exhale, forward. Inhale, back. Now slowly come to normal position.
The next is sideward movement, left and right side of the neck.
Now exhale, slowly bend your neck to your right side. Try to touch your ear to shoulder and don't lift your shoulder. And inhale, come to center. Exhale, left side. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. One more round. Inhale, come to center. And exhale, right side. Inhale, come to normal position.
The circular movement of the neck comes next. It exercises all the muscles of the neck. So you can see that this set of neck exercises is designed to stimulate all the neck muscles and give you a complete workout and very good for the thyroid.
Now slowly rotate your neck to your clockwise. Exhale, bend your neck forward and inhale while going back and coming down. Exhale. We have to do 3 rounds clockwise. Inhale while going back and coming down. Exhale. And we'll do reverse rotation and inhale to your left side and while coming down, exhale. Do it 3 rounds. Now slowly come back and relax.
We start with Ardha Chakrasana.
Now slowly stand in Samasthiti position. Now slowly take your both hands on your wrist and take 1 feet distance from your legs. And slowly inhale, slowly bend your spine towards your back. You have to stretch your neck. Maintain this position 5 to 10 normal breaths. And inhale while coming back. And slowly bend forward. This is the counter for Ardha Chakrasana, Pada Hastasana. You have to bend forward. And inhale while coming back. We'll do one more time. Take your both hands on waist and take distance from your legs. And inhale while coming back, while bending back.
See the beautiful stretch that is enabled by this asana for the chest, for the back, for the neck.
Now inhale, come back. And exhale, while bend forward. You have to stretch your spine and bend.
This Pada Hastasana. Just as we have done the backward bending, we are doing the forward bending. So this will balance. Every back bending is complemented by the forward bending.
And inhale, coming back. And relax.
Supta Vajrasana will come next, for which they will adopt the sitting position.
Sitting Dandasana. And slowly come to Vajrasana.
Vajrasan tones the Vajranadi.
Now slowly inhale and bend back. Now take your elbow support and lie down on your mat. And
Do-
take your hands above the head and slowly stretch your neck like this. And take your hands and try to keep your hands like this in resting position and do breathe in, breathe out.
Do this very slowly. You can use a pillow or something for support, a bolster or a pillow when you do it. And do not put any stress or strain when you first attempt it. Please do it under the guidance of a yoga teacher.
And slowly release your neck and catch your ankle by coming back and come back. Now we'll do Namaskarasana.
Namaskarasana is a counter pose.
And
Namaskarasana.
bend forward and try to touch your forehead to your mat and hands in Namaskar position and relax. A normal breathe in, breathe out.
Notice how the blood circulation to the head, neck, shoulders improves with this Namaskarasana.
Now slowly come back to Vajrasana. We'll do one more time. Chitta Vajrasana. And slowly take your hands to your back. Take elbow support. Those who are doing the first time, do it here. And take your hands above the head and take your neck. And take your hands forward and breathe in, breathe out. And slowly release. Release your neck first and catch your ankle and slowly come back with the help of your elbows and slowly bend forward with Namaskar and relax your spine.
This is how important Namaskaram is.
Now slowly come back to Vajrasana and release Vajrasana.
They relax in Dandasana for a few minutes. If people are tired, they can even do Shavasana in between these cycles. The next one is the Ushtrasana. Ushtra means camel. So this asana is inspired from the camel's posture. Ushtrasana, very good for the back, neck, for the thyroid, because it gives a very good stretch. Ushtrasana.
Now slowly come to Vajrasana. Now stand on your knees and take distance from your knees 6 inches. And take your both hands on your waist. Those who are doing at the first time will do Ardha Ushtrasana. Then slowly you can, regular practice, you can do full Ushtrasana. And slowly bend back with inhalation.
This is Ardha Ushtrasana, half Ushtrasana posture. similar to Ardha Kati Chakras.
And slowly catch your ankle.
Notice how Harita has moved from Ardha Ushtrasan to complete Purna Ushtrasan. Just with a deft, flexible movement of her hands, how beautifully she's gone from Ardha Ushtrasan to Ushtrasan. This comes with lots of practice and lots of dexterity.
And slowly come back. Come to Vajrasan. Now forward bending, Shashankasan will do. And exhale, slowly bend forward and bend your spine.
Shashankasan increases the blood supply to the brain. We noticed in the past also it's very good for stress relief. That's very important in thyroid to de-stress. So Shashankasan is a wonderful way to de-stress for people who have thyroid and for normal people also. Just to de-stress, Shashankasan is an instant technique to remove stress.
And slowly come back and sit in Vajrasan. We'll do again Ushtrasana one more time. Stand on your knees and take 6 inches from your knees distance. You have to take knee and ankle distance to be same. Keep your legs parallel. Take your both hands on your waist and inhale by going back and slowly touch your ankle. While you are in Asana Sthiti, you have to breathe in, breathe out. And slowly come back to your position. And come to Vajrasan. And exhale. Slowly bend forward. Shashankasan.
Shashankasan or rabbit pose. Very easily done by children.
And slowly come back to your position. And relax in Vajrasan. And release Vajrasan.
After relaxing in Dandasan, Harita and her team will perform Mandukasan. Mandukasan is a forward bending posture. It imitates the frog.
Now slowly come to Vajrasan. And keep your both hands Brahma Mudra. You have to keep your hands below the navel. And while bending forward, you have to exhale and stretch your neck and concentrate on your eyebrow center. Breathing without.
Notice the beautiful stretch for the neck.
And inhale while coming back. Relax in Vajrasan. We'll do one more time. And
Shashankasan.
slowly come to Brahma Mudra again.
sorry, Mandukasana. They're doing the Mandukasana.
Keep your hands below the navel and exhale, bending forward. Stretch your neck and concentrate on your eyebrow center. Inhale while coming back. Release Vajrasana and relax.
Our team will relax in Shavasana for a few minutes before they go to Dhanurasana. Shavasana for a few minutes, please.
Now relax in Savasana.
The next set of asanas is Dhanurasana followed by Matsyasana. Dhanurasana is like a bow. So this is a back bending stretch. Matsyasana is like a fish. This is a front bending stretch.
Now slowly come back and lie down on your stomach. And slowly fold your knees and try to catch your ankle. And inhale, slowly stretch your legs and lift your knees from the ground and lift your shoulder. And do breathe in, breathe out. You have to do total body weight on your abdomen. Concentrate on your eyebrow center.
Please do this slowly and only as much as one can. Again, under the guidance of a yoga teacher.
And slowly relax. And we'll do again. Fold your knees and catch your ankle. And slowly inhale. Lift your knees from the ground and lift your shoulder. And coming down, slowly exhale and release. And relax.
Now, Matsyasana comes next. Matsyasana, fish pose.
Now slowly come back to your position. Now slowly lie down on your back. And slowly take your hands above the head. And take your hand support and slowly inhale, tilt your neck. Those who are doing at the first time, you can take hand support and keep your hands like this. And by regular practice, you can keep your hands in relaxing manner. And slowly come back and relax. We'll do again, relax. And take your hands and slowly lift your head and tilt your neck. And breathe in, breathe out. And slowly release. Relaxing Savasana. Yeah.
We are now going to follow up with a sequence of asanas. 3 asanas, Sarvangasana, Halasana, and Paschimottanasana. All of them stimulate the thyroid gland, and they're very, very good for the neck, back, and help in keeping the hormonal balance in the body. Sarvangasana.
Now slowly lie down on your stomach. Sorry, back. And slowly lift your both the legs 90 degrees and lift your trunk and keep your hands by the support, spine support, and slowly lift your total spine.
This is Sarvangasana. Followed by Halasana, where the legs are lowered down. This is Halasana.
Halasana, and come to Halasana and do breathe in, breathe out. And slowly come back to Sarvangasana. And slowly release Sarvangasana. Now slowly come to Paschimottanasana.
Paschimottanasana, ending of the sequence. Sarvangasana, Halasana, and Paschimottanasana. Very beneficial for the thyroid.
And slowly inhale, come back. We'll do one more time. And lie down on your back. Slowly lift your both the legs 90 degrees angle. And lift your slowly lift your spine by the help of your hands. And slowly exhale, come to Halasana. You can keep down your legs one by one also. And stretch your hands. Maintain this position, 5 normal breaths.
This has to be done under expert guidance, please.
Now slowly come back to your position. And release. Slowly down your legs. And come to Paschimottanasana.
You can see how beautifully the thyroid gland is being stimulated.
Now slowly come back to your position. Now relaxing Savasana.
Shavasana gives the much needed rest to the central nervous system. After relaxing in Shavasana, Harita and her team will now perform Ujjayi Pranayama, very important for thyroid gland, Ujjayi Pranayama.
Now slowly come back to your position. And sit in comfortable posture. You have to slowly contract your throat. Constrict your throat and do deep inhalation and exhalation. Now slowly lengthen your inhalation. While you inhale and exhale, the seesaw sound will come with that hissing sound. You have to do sound with your throat. Inhale. Exhale. This Ujjayi Pranayama we can do it with the Kumbhaka also. And Jalandhara Bandha also very good for the thyroid. Now I will show you Jalandhara Bandha. Inhale both the nostril. And close your nose and lock your cheek. Now slowly come back and exhale with your left nostril. This we have to practice under guidance. I will show you again. Inhale. And lock your nose. come back and exhale with your left nostril. Those who are doing at the first time, you can do without Kumbhaka. Daily you have to practice this pranayama 10 to 15 minutes. This is very helpful to your thyroid. And relax.
Bhastrika pranayam comes next. And this is the last pranayam for today.
Now you will have to do Bhastrika pranayama, forceful inhalation and forceful exhalation. And slowly inhale through both the nostrils. Exhale through both the nostrils.
Bhastrika means bellows. So it's powerful inhalation and exhalation. Those with heart problems should not do it. BP, heart problems. Please do it under expert guidance. We will now end today's beautiful session with Shavasana.
Now slowly lie down on your back. Relaxing Savasana.
After Shavasana, we will end today's session with the prayer.
Now slowly come back to your position. Relax, sitting. Siddhasana or Vajrasana. Keep your both hands Samaskara Mudra. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kakshit dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And slowly rub your both hands and touch your eyes and face, shoulders, and slowly look at your palms and open your eyes.
We see there are many authors, poets, writers who spend a lot of time in writing books. We need to put a lot of efforts, like specific literature, skills, to have the best language in their writings. But in the language of health, every human is the author of their own health, whether it's good or bad. But I feel we are lucky enough to have these two beautiful ladies taking so much efforts in writing the healthy scripts every week for all of us to have a confident life, even if we have something that's troubling us. Thank you so much, Dr. Kanakadurga Garu and Harita, and our students for demonstrating these yogasanas. Have a happy and healthy weekend. Stay fit, stay tuned, but do stay tuned for more and more healthy scripts. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu.
Thank you, Swarna. Thank you very much.